Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today is going to be my May wrap up. I cannot believe that it's already June. This is June 3rd. And the fact that it's already June and not still February is kind of mind-blowing to me, but so life goes. So I read 8 books. My dog. Every time. Can I help you, sir? Do you want to come in? Can you come? You want to say hi? Anyways, so yeah, May was an incredible reading month. Read 8 books, like I said, and most of them were 4 to 5 stars. Actually, all of them were 4 to 5 stars. So let's go ahead and get started talking about them. The first book I read is Sons of Blackbird Mountain by Joanne Biscoff, and I love this book so much. The characters in this series, which I just finished, the second book in the series, which will be, sorry, interruptions all the time. I just finished book 2, which I'll talk about in my June wrap up. But I loved the characters in this book. The male main character is actually deaf. I don't know if I've ever read a main character that was deaf, or at least nothing like this. And it was so interesting. The family dynamics, everything. And it just had good vibes, and we love that. So this is about a woman who comes over she comes to America from, where was it? Norway. No, I think it was Norway. Norway or Scotland or something. I don't remember which. I think it was Norway. But she comes over to, I think it's in Virginia, where the Norgard, which I'm probably saying that name wrong because it's Norwegian, I think, but whatever, comes to live with them because she thinks they're actually young boys, because their aunt, I think it was their aunt. Wow, I'm forgetting all the details because it's been a month. So their aunt asked her to come over to help take care of them. And then she gets there and the aunt is dead. And these brothers are definitely not little boys. They are grown men. And it's just their story. And there's so much heartache and trials. And it deals with alcohol addiction. The main character was an alcoholic, and it shows his journey of becoming sober, and that whole process and journey. It was painful and yet so beautiful to read, and so I highly recommend Sons of Blackbird Mountain. 5 stars. Then I read something very different than what I normally read, Destiny Junction by Michael Phillips. This was such a unique story. It kind of felt a little bit like a nonfiction. It's about a small town, and it basically just gives so many different perspectives of people in this town and what they're going through and their journey and how they all come together when a tragedy happens, and how this tragedy was used by God to bring the community together, and people are getting saved in this book, and it was so beautiful. I gave it 4 stars. It was hard to read at times because it was just emotional, and it stepped on my toes, and I tabbed it. And it was a very short book. I read it within 24 hours. So I do recommend this. Just know that it's not a typical story. I mean, it's not the normal type of thing I read, but I loved Michael Phillips' writing and the character growth, and yeah, it was very inspiring. So I highly recommend this book. The next book I finished was The Holy Warrior by Gilbert Morris. I gave this one 4 stars as well. It is book number 6 in the House of Winslow series. I think it's number 6. This is just continuing the series, obviously. continuing the family story of the Winslows, who originally came over on the Mayflower. It's fiction, so technically it's not actually, they probably didn't actually come over on the Mayflower, but in the story they do. But this is about Nathan Winslow, and he oh my, it's such a deep story. I don't even know how to explain it, but my heart, there were twists and turns in here that I was not expecting, and my heart was just like hurting. So I really enjoyed this. I hadn't read one of these in a while, and it was good to just get back into it. So I don't have the next book. I need to get my hands on it so that I can continue. And then I read Shadows of Swansea Abbey by Julie Klassen. I gave this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. No. The reason this didn't get 5 stars, I think, was just because it didn't feel like 5 stars. So it's basically 5 stars, but not quite. This is about Rebecca Lane, and she returns to her hometown after years away. But there's something, she can't live with her brother, who she was planning to live with, because of some things that are happening with him. This is a mystery, actually, a murder mystery, and it has some other mystery elements as well, I think. But it's her meeting up with a childhood friend, I think. Oh, I would say this is childhood friends to lovers, sort of. There's like a 10-year age gap between the two, the male main character and the female main character. But it was a sweet story. I really enjoyed it. And I don't think I figured out who did it. But it also involves writing, like writing books and authors, and so that part was also interesting. And I really like this cover. It's the matte cover. So yes, I'm very glad I finally read this. This is my second Julie Klassen, and I enjoyed this one more than the first Julie Klassen I read. So I'm hoping that the trend continues to continue liking her books, because I have at least one other. And then we get to probably my favorite book of the month. It's a new release, and I pre-ordered it. And if you watch my last vlog, you'll see in the beginning clip, I had to get another copy because my pre-ordered copy came damaged. But that is The Words We Lost by Nicole Deese, and I love this cover. Obviously, there's books. What? If you put a book, listen, if you put a book on the cover of a book, I am sold. I mean, as long as I know that the author is, yeah, unless I think it's a book that I actually shouldn't read. But I love this book so much. I buddy read this with my sister Morgan. I gave her my damaged copy, and we read this together, and we both absolutely loved it. Tabbed the mess out of it. It has so much depth. And one thing, so I've read 2 Nicole Deese novels and then a novella. The novella was just mediocre. But the 2 full-length novels of hers that I've read, I love them. They're I think she's going to become one of my favorite contemporary romance authors, because it's so much more than just romance, and it's so, the depth and the themes and everything, the story is just emotional. The faith content, it's not a ton of faith content, but what's there I think is really good, solid, for the most part. And I will continue to buy every Nicole Deese book, probably. So, what is this even about? Oh my word. This is also about books from, the cover. But basically it is about an editor who, her best friend, who is a famous author, she wrote a series that went viral, basically. And so this girl, Cece, the writer's editor, is her best friend, and her name is Ingrid. And Cece passes away from a brain tumor, or She had a brain tumor and she was in surgery and passed away during the surgery. And so it shows Ingrid's grief. Ingrid can't really do any editing work because she, from the trauma of her best friend passing away, she like can't read, or she can read, but she can't comprehend what she's reading very well. And the last book in Cece's series is missing. And they know she wrote it or she was working on it, and she had a contract, and they want to finish the series because she has an insane fan base. So it's kind of her journey connecting with her childhood, or I don't know, early teen boyfriend kind of. And so it kind of feels YA in some parts. I can't tell you the format because it's like the most interesting format ever, but basically, can I tell you that? Is that a spoiler? I don't know. Basically, just read this book because you kind of get a present and past timeline, and the past timeline feels kind of like a cute YA romance, and the present is more like real life. I don't know. I absolutely love this and highly recommend this. 5 stars. And then I picked up Out of the Dust by Karen. How do you say the last name? Every video there's a last name I don't know how to pronounce. Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. I'm so sorry anyways. I read this in like one night because it is a free verse, and I gave it 4 stars. Yeah, 4 stars. It is about a little girl named Billy Joe, and just her struggles through the Dust Bowl and all that happened to her family. It is fiction, but it kind of felt like nonfiction. It could have been a nonfiction book, but for what it was, I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'll keep it because I don't know if I'll ever read it again, and I don't know. I'm still thinking about it, and yeah, it was sad. Like, there was a lot of things that I was just like, oh, heartbreaking, but yeah, overall enjoyed it, and 4 stars. Then I read another pre-ordered book, which is Safe All Along by Katie Davis Majors. I'm in love with this cover. The more I look at it, the more I love it. It's just beautiful. I gave this one 5 stars. It is Trading Our Fears and Anxieties for God's Unshakable Peace. And there was one chapter. Was it chapter 12? I think it was like chapter 12 through 14 or 12 and 13, something like that, that I would have bought the book just for those chapters, because for things in my own life right now, it is exactly what I needed. And just wow, I loved this, and definitely will be going back to it. I tabbed a lot, and I love Kate Davis Majors books, so I definitely recommend this if you are going through a season of fears, anxiety, and just knowing that you are safe all along. And the story she tells a story of how, I guess the title Safe, and the concept of safe all along comes from, and it's just beautiful, and I connected with this, so I highly recommend. And then, you already know, The Robe by Lloyd C. Douglas, 5 stars every time. Me and Carmen, Buddy, read this, and it was so fun. We watched the movie, vlogged it. That vlog should be up by now. And the characters in this book are just some of my favorite. Marcellus, Demetrius, Diana, the big fisherman, all the things. I love this book. In my vlog, I mentioned that it is very slow, and if you are not a committed reader and you don't like slow books, I hate to do this to like one of my favorite books of all time, but I wouldn't recommend you actually reading it, because I'm scared you wouldn't like it because it is so slow and has so much depth and detail, and then I would be sad that you wouldn't like it. But the story, like, who would not like the story? I mean, anyways, love this book. Highly recommend if you want to commit to a 20-hour book. No joke. But forever and always, 6 stars. And that was my May reading month. It was such a good month. Read so many good books. I am excited for June because summertime. I am in the mood right now for summer books. I don't really know if I have many that feel like summer, but we're trying to fill the craving. I'm feeling some rereads coming, so stay tuned for that. But this is the beautiful stack, minus the one, because I borrowed some of the Blackbird Mountain from the library. I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what your favorite book of May was in the comments below, because I would love to hear. I'm always taking new suggestions, even though the to be read list is so long. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.